Most survival gear marketed today is designed to fail. Plastic buckles that crack in the cold, cheap tools that rust after one season, electronics that die when you need them most. But there's a different category of gear. Items built so well they'll outlast you. Items you buy once and pass down to your kids. Today, I'm walking you through 15 survival gear items that truly last forever. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's worth your money and what's just marketing hype. I'm Zach, and I've been prepping since 2012. Back then, I wasted hundreds of dollars on gear that looked tactical but fell apart when I actually used it. Over the years, I've learned the hard way which items are built to last and which ones are just shiny distractions. What I'm sharing today isn't theory. These are tools I've tested, used, and trusted in real conditions. Let's get into it. Number 1 on the list is cast iron cookware. Now, I know what you're thinking. Cast iron? That heavy, old-fashioned stuff your grandmother used? Absolutely. And there's a reason pioneers hauled these massive chunks of metal across the frontier instead of lighter alternatives. They knew cast iron would outlive them. Here's what makes cast iron special. First, it's virtually indestructible. You can drop it, bang it against rocks, throw it directly onto campfire coals, and it keeps working. Unlike modern non-stick pans with their fragile coatings, cast iron actually gets better with use. The oils from your cooking seep into the iron's pores, creating a natural non-stick surface that rivals anything made with chemicals. And unlike Teflon, this surface won't poison you or break down over time. Cast iron also has exceptional heat retention. Modern pots and pans heat up fast but cool down just as quickly. Cast iron holds heat evenly across the entire cooking surface, which means better cooking and less wasted fuel. In a long-term survival situation where every piece of firewood counts, that efficiency matters. Now, cast iron does require some basic maintenance. You can't just throw it in the dishwasher and forget about it. After cooking, you clean it with hot water and a brush, dry it thoroughly, and apply a thin coat of oil. That's it. Do that, and your cast iron will still be cooking meals 100 years from now. I'm talking Dutch ovens, skillets, griddles. If it's cast iron and you take care of it, it's a forever tool. Number 2 is a quality ferro rod. Now, I'm not talking about those tiny keychain ferro rods you get in cheap survival kits. I'm talking about a substantial ferro rod, something with real size and weight to it. A good ferro rod can generate tens of thousands of strikes before it's used up. Think about that for a second. A standard Bic lighter gives you maybe 3,000 lights, if you're lucky. Matches run out even faster. But a quality ferro rod the size of your index finger, you're looking at potentially 20,000 strikes or more. That's fires for years, maybe decades, depending on how often you use it. The beauty of a ferro rod is its simplicity. There are no moving parts to break, no fuel to evaporate, no wick to deteriorate. It's just a rod of ferrocerium that creates sparks when you scrape it. It works when wet, it works in freezing temperatures, it works at high altitude. I've started fires in pouring rain with a ferro rod that would have been impossible with matches or a lighter. If you're going to invest in one, get a thick rod at least ½ inch in diameter and 4 to 6 inches long. Yes, it's heavier than a mini Bic, but we're talking about forever gear here, not ultralight backpacking. Pair it with a quality striker, keep it in your kit, and you've got fire starting capability for life. Number 3 brings us to quality fixed blade knives. Now, this is where a lot of preppers get it wrong. They think expensive means better, or they fall for fancy tactical designs that look cool but don't hold up. The knives that last forever are simple, well-made, and properly maintained. We're talking about full tang construction, which means the blade steel runs all the way through the handle. This design eliminates the main failure point of cheaper knives where the blade can snap off from the handle. Look for high carbon steel or quality stainless steel. High carbon steel holds an edge better and is easier to sharpen in the field, but it requires more maintenance to prevent rust. Stainless steel is more forgiving, but slightly harder to get razor sharp. Brands like Mora, EC, and K-Bar have proven track records. These aren't boutique custom knives that cost $500.
They're working tools, usually between $50 and $200, and they'll outlast you if you treat them right. Clean them after use, keep them dry, sharpen them regularly. That's all it takes. A good survival knife handles everything from food prep to shelter building to fire starting. It's probably the single most important tool in your kit. Buy quality once and you're set for life. Before we go further, I want to share something that's helped me tremendously in my own preparedness journey. Look, I know how overwhelming prepping can feel, especially when you're just starting out. You see all these lists and gear recommendations, and it feels like you need thousands of dollars just to get started. But that's not true. I put together a completely free guide that shows you how to turn just $50 into a 90-day food supply for your family. This isn't some theoretical plan. It's the exact system I used when I was starting out and money was tight. The guide includes the specific shopping list with brands and prices, 37 essential items most people overlook, and storage strategies that work even if you're in a small apartment.
It also covers emergency meals you can make with zero cooking fuel, which is critical information most preppers ignore until it's too late. The guide is yours absolutely free. I'm not asking for a credit card or trying to upsell you on anything. Just let me know where to send it. The link is in the description and pinned in the comments. Grab it now so you have it when you need it. All right, let's keep going. Number 4 is something most people never think about, but it's absolutely critical. I'm talking about a quality compass. And not just any compass, but a military-grade Landsat compass or a diving compass. GPS devices are fantastic when they work, but they rely on satellites, batteries, and electronics, all of which can fail. A compass is purely mechanical. There's nothing to break down. The needle is magnetized metal floating in liquid. That's it. As long as Earth has a magnetic field, your compass works. Now, if you want the absolute best, look at something like the Gut Tritium compass. This is the compass used by the US military. It has a tritium light source that glows for over a decade without batteries or charging. The housing is built to survive battlefield conditions. We're talking about a tool that costs around $100, but will navigate for you and your grandkids. If that's out of your budget, a quality diving compass is another excellent option. These are built to withstand the pressure of deep underwater diving, which means they're incredibly durable. They're heavier and bulkier than a standard hiking compass, but that's the trade-off for something that lasts forever. Here's the key point. A compass isn't just for finding north. With a compass and a long piece of string, you can survey land, measure distances, and establish property boundaries with remarkable accuracy. In a long-term survival situation where GPS is down, these skills become incredibly valuable. A compass gives you that capability forever. Number 5 is stainless steel water bottles. Now, I'm specifically talking about single-wall stainless steel bottles, not the insulated kind. Brands like Clean Canteen have been making these for over 20 years, and the same bottles people bought in 2004 are still working perfectly today. Here's why stainless steel beats everything else. Plastic water bottles degrade over time, especially when exposed to sunlight and temperature changes. The plastic leaches chemicals into your water. Aluminum bottles dent easily and can impart a metallic taste. Glass is too fragile for field use, but stainless steel? It's damn near indestructible. An 18-8 food-grade stainless steel bottle won't rust, it won't retain flavors or odors, you can drop it, bang it around, and aside from a few cosmetic dents, it keeps working. You can even use a single-wall stainless bottle to boil water directly over a fire if you remove the cap. Try that with plastic or aluminum. The bottles are also incredibly easy to clean. Hot water and soap, or just hot water and baking soda paste for tough jobs. No special tools needed. And unlike bladder systems with tubes and valves that can grow mold and bacteria, a steel bottle is simple. Fill it, drink it, clean it, repeat. Forever. Clean Canteen offers a lifetime warranty on their bottles, which tells you everything you need to know about durability. These bottles are designed to last your entire life. Get a 32-ounce or 40-ounce capacity, and you've got a hydration solution that will never need replacing. Number 6 brings us to hand tools, specifically quality axes and saws. Now, power tools are great when you have electricity or fuel, but in a long-term scenario, hand tools become essential, and the right hand tools, properly maintained, will outlast multiple generations. For axes, you're looking at two categories: traditional European axes with replaceable wooden handles, like those from Gransfors or Holzbruck. These are forged from high-carbon steel and can hold an incredibly sharp edge. When the handle eventually wears out, you simply replace it. The axe head itself can last centuries. The other option is a solid steel axe, like an Estwing. These axes are forged from a single piece of steel, handle and all. There's no wooden handle to break or replace. The trade-off is they're heavier, not as well balanced, and they transfer more shock to your hands with each strike. But in terms of pure durability, a one-piece steel axe is nearly indestructible. For saws, I'm a fan of quality bow saws with replaceable blades. A good bow saw frame will last forever, and replacement blades are cheap and easy to store. You can also look at quality folding saws. My personal preference runs toward Japanese pull saws because they cut faster and more efficiently than traditional push saws. But for pure longevity, a bow saw setup with a dozen spare blades stored away gives you decades of cutting power. The key with any hand tool is maintenance. Keep blades sharp and clean. Oil steel to prevent rust. Store them properly. Do that, and your hand tools become family heirlooms. Number 7 is one that some of you might debate me on, but hear me out. I'm talking about wool blankets. Now, I know wool blankets don't sound like survival gear. They sound like something your grandma keeps on the couch. But wool is one of the most remarkable materials in existence, and a quality wool blanket can last 50 years or more with proper care. Wool insulates even when wet. That's a critical property that synthetic materials and down cannot match. Get caught in a rainstorm with a wet down sleeping bag, and you're going to freeze. A wet wool blanket, it still keeps you warm. Wool is also naturally fire resistant, which matters when you're sleeping near campfires. Sparks that would melt synthetic fabric or burn holes in cotton barely affect wool. Military surplus wool blankets are some of the best deals in preparedness. You can often find them for $30 to $50. These are blankets that were made to military specifications, designed to keep soldiers alive in harsh conditions. They're thick, heavy, and incredibly durable. I've seen surplus wool blankets from World War II that are still perfectly functional 80 years later. Yes, wool requires some special care. You can't just throw it in a washing machine with regular detergent. But hand washing in cold water with wool-safe soap once or twice a year, then air drying, keeps a wool blanket in perfect condition. And unlike sleeping bags with their complicated baffles and zippers that eventually fail, a wool blanket is just woven wool. There's nothing to break. In a long-term survival scenario where you might not have access to replacement gear, a wool blanket becomes incredibly valuable. It's a sleep system, an emergency shelter, a way to carry supplies and insulation all in one, forever. Number 8 is quality leather gear. I'm talking about belts, boots, and holsters made from full-grain leather. This is another area where modern materials have convinced people that plastic and synthetic is better. But leather, when properly cared for, lasts for decades and can be repaired indefinitely. A full-grain leather belt isn't just an accessory. It's a tool. You can use it to carry gear, to lash items together, to make emergency repairs. I've worn the same leather belt for over 10 years, and aside from developing a beautiful patina, it's as strong as the day I bought it. Compare that to cheap synthetic belts that crack and tear after a year or two. Quality leather boots are the same story. Yes, they're expensive up front. A good pair of full-grain leatherwork boots or hiking boots can cost $200 or more. But with regular cleaning, conditioning, and occasional resoling, those boots can last 20 years. Synthetic hiking boots? You're lucky to get 3 years of hard use before the glues fail and the materials break down. The key with leather is maintenance. You need to clean it, condition it with mink oil or leather conditioner, and protect it from extended moisture exposure. But that maintenance is simple and cheap. A tin of mink oil costs $8 and lasts for years. In return, you get gear that becomes more comfortable over time and lasts essentially forever with basic care. Number 9 is hand crank and solar-powered tools. Now, this might seem to contradict what I said earlier about electronics failing, but I'm talking about very specific types of devices. Hand crank emergency radios with built-in flashlights and phone charging capability. Solar panels without built-in batteries. The reason these items make the forever list is their simplicity. A hand crank radio has a simple generator mechanism. You turn the crank, it generates electricity, it powers the radio. There's no battery to degrade because you're generating power on demand. Same with a hand crank flashlight. Yes, the bulb might eventually burn out, but LED bulbs can last 50,000 hours or more. We're talking decades of use. Solar panels without built-in electronics are also incredibly durable. A quality crystalline solar panel can generate electricity for 25 to 30 years with no maintenance. The panels themselves are just silicone wafers covered in glass. Nothing to break down. The weak points in most solar gear are the charge controllers and batteries, but a simple solar panel that you connect directly to devices bypasses those failure points. I keep both a hand crank emergency radio and a 20-watt folding solar panel in my gear. The radio gives me access to emergency broadcasts and weather information without depending on grid power or batteries. The solar panel gives me the ability to charge essential devices indefinitely. In a long-term grid down situation, these capabilities are priceless. Number 10 might surprise some of you. I'm talking about quality hand crank or treadle-powered tools. Things like hand crank grain mills, treadle-powered sewing machines, and hand-powered well pumps. These are tools our great-grandparents used every day, and many of them are still working 100 years later. The reason these tools last forever is mechanical simplicity. A hand crank grain mill is just steel burrs and gears. There's no motor to burn out, no circuit board to fry, just simple mechanics that with occasional lubrication can grind grain into flour indefinitely. In a long-term scenario where commercial food supply breaks down, the ability to mill your own grain becomes critical, and a tool that can do that job for generations is worth its weight in gold. The same applies to treadle sewing machines. These machines, powered by a foot pedal, can repair clothes and gear without electricity. A quality treadle machine from Singer or another reputable brand can sew for a lifetime with just basic maintenance. Clean it, oil it occasionally, and it keeps working.
Hand-powered well pumps are another example. Modern electric well pumps are convenient, but when the grid goes down, they're useless. A hand pump with a good leather or rubber seal can pull water from a well indefinitely. The pump mechanisms are simple enough that you can repair them with basic tools and parts you can even make yourself if necessary. These aren't tools everyone needs, but if you're thinking about true long-term preparedness, the kind that extends beyond a few weeks or months, having manually powered tools for essential tasks gives you capabilities that don't depend on fuel, electricity, or complex supply chains. Number 11 brings us to quality multi-tools. Specifically, I'm talking about brands like Leatherman and Victorinox Swiss Army knives. Now, these tools do have moving parts, and eventually things can wear out. But both companies are famous for their warranties and for making tools that, with basic care, can last for decades. I've carried a Leatherman Wave for 15 years. I use it constantly. It's cut wire, tightened screws, opened thousands of bottles and packages, repaired gear in the field, and done countless other tasks. And aside from some scratching on the handles and the blade needing sharpening, it's still going strong. Leatherman offers a 25-year warranty, but these tools regularly outlast that with no issues. The reason quality multi-tools make the forever list is their construction. They're made from stainless steel with carefully engineered locking mechanisms. The tools fold in and out smoothly even after years of use. And if something does break, both Leatherman and Victorinox will repair or replace them, often for free. A multi-tool gives you 10 or 15 different tools in a package that fits in your pocket. That convenience and capability, backed by construction quality that lasts for decades, makes it essential gear. Choose one that fits your needs, carry it daily, and it becomes one of those tools you wonder how you ever lived without. Number 12 is something we're seeing less and less of in modern homes, but it's incredibly valuable for preparedness. I'm talking about pressure canners. A quality pressure canner, like those made by All-American, will last for generations if properly maintained. Pressure canning is how you safely preserve low-acid foods like meat, vegetables, and complete meals. Unlike water bath canning, which only works for high-acid foods like fruits and pickles, pressure canning reaches the temperatures needed to kill botulism spores. That makes it safe for preserving basically any food. An all-American pressure canner is built like a tank. The body is made from heavy cast aluminum with a machined metal-to-metal seal. There's no rubber gasket to replace. The pressure gauge can be tested and recalibrated if needed. With basic care, these canners function for 50 years or more. People regularly use canners that belong to their grandmothers. In a long-term preparedness scenario, the ability to preserve your own food is critical. Gardens produce surges of food that need to be stored. Wild game needs to be preserved. A pressure canner lets you do that safely and efficiently. And unlike freezers that require constant electricity or dehydrators that take up space and power, a pressure canner works on any heat source, and the sealed jars of food store safely for years without refrigeration.
Is a pressure canner essential for everyone? No. But if you're serious about food security and long-term preparedness, it's a tool that pays for itself many times over and lasts essentially forever. Number 13 takes us to one of the oldest survival tools in existence. I'm talking about flint and steel fire starting. Now, I know I already covered ferro rods, which are easier to use, but true flint and steel fire starting uses actual flint or chert stone struck against high-carbon steel to create sparks. And both the flint and the steel will last for thousands and thousands of fires. The technique takes more skill than a ferro rod. You're striking the steel against the stone at the right angle to shave off tiny particles of steel which ignite from the friction. Those sparks land in char cloth or other tinder and start your fire. It's the method humans used for thousands of years before matches were invented. The reason this makes the forever list is pure durability. A chunk of flint is literally a rock. It will last until you physically use it up, which takes an incredibly long time. The steel striker is just a piece of high-carbon steel. Keep it dry so it doesn't rust, and it lasts indefinitely. There are no moving parts, no materials that degrade, just stone and steel. Is flint and steel harder to use than a lighter or ferro rod? Absolutely. But as a backup fire-starting method that truly lasts forever, it's unmatched. And in a very long-term scenario where manufactured fire-starting tools might be unavailable, knowing how to use flint and steel could be critical. The knowledge and the tools both last a lifetime. Number 14 is premium tarps, specifically canvas or ripstop nylon tarps. Now, no tarp lasts literally forever. They'll eventually develop tears or the waterproofing will degrade. But a quality canvas tarp, properly maintained, can easily last 20 or 30 years, and that qualifies as close to forever in the preparedness world. Canvas tarps are incredibly versatile. They work as ground cloths, emergency shelters, rain catches, windbreaks, and cargo covers. A 12 by 12 foot canvas tarp treated with waterproofing wax creates substantial shelter. It's heavy, yes, but it's also far more durable than the lightweight backpacking tarps. The key to making tarps last is proper care. Don't store them wet, which causes mildew. Don't leave them set up in harsh sun for months at a time, which degrades the material. Use them when needed, then clean and dry them before storage. Retreat them with waterproofing wax or spray every few years. Do that, and a quality tarp serves you for decades. For truly long-term durability, military surplus canvas tarps are hard to beat. These tarps were made to military specifications, designed to protect equipment in combat zones. They're thick, tough, and if you can find them in good condition, they're an incredible value. Number 15 rounds out our list, and it's the simplest item we've covered. I'm talking about good old-fashioned rope, specifically natural fiber rope like manila or synthetic rope like climbing-rated nylon. Rope is one of those things that's so basic we forget how important it is. You need rope to build shelters, to secure gear, to haul water, to create perimeter security, to rig tarps, to hang food away from animals, to climb and descend. The list goes on forever, and quality rope properly stored lasts for decades. Natural fiber rope like manila hemp is incredibly strong and has been used for centuries in maritime applications. It can hold tremendous weight. The main downside is it's susceptible to rot if stored wet, but keep it dry and manila rope lasts for years. Synthetic climbing rope is even more durable. Modern climbing rope is rated to hold thousands of pounds and is resistant to UV damage and moisture.
A 100-foot length of static climbing rope stored properly out of direct sunlight can last 20 years or more. That gives you high-strength cordage for any situation.
The key with rope is having enough of it and storing it correctly. Coil it properly so it doesn't develop kinks. Keep it out of direct sunlight when stored. Check it periodically for damage, and always have more than you think you'll need. In a survival situation, rope is one of those things where too much is just barely enough. So there you have it. 15 survival gear items that truly last forever, or close enough that it doesn't matter. Cast iron cookware, quality ferro rods, fixed blade knives, military-grade compasses, stainless steel water bottles, hand tools like axes and saws, wool blankets, quality leather gear, hand crank and solar tools, manually powered devices for essential tasks, quality multi-tools, pressure canners, flint and steel fire starters, premium tarps, and good rope. These aren't the flashiest items on the market. You won't see them advertised with tactical marketing and special ops endorsements, but they're the real deal. Tools and gear that, with basic maintenance, will serve you for your entire life and possibly your children's lives as well. The common thread in all of this is quality and simplicity. The gear that lasts forever isn't complicated. It doesn't rely on proprietary parts or specialized knowledge to maintain. It's straightforward tools made from durable materials by companies that take pride in their work. Now, here's the thing. Building up quality gear takes time and money. You don't need to buy everything at once. Start with the basics: a good knife, a ferro rod, a stainless water bottle, then add pieces over time as your budget allows. The beauty of forever gear is that you only buy it once. Yes, that cast iron skillet costs more upfront than a cheap nonstick pan, but you'll never need to buy another one. That Leatherman costs more than a cheap gas station multi-tool, but it'll still be working when that cheap tool is in a landfill. And if you haven't already grabbed that free guide I mentioned earlier, now's the time. It's waiting for you in the description below. $50 into a 90-day food supply, the exact shopping list, storage strategies for small spaces, emergency meal prep with no cooking fuel. It's all in there, completely free. Just let me know where to send it. Before we wrap up, I want you to think about something. Every piece of gear in your kit tells a story about your preparedness philosophy. Are you buying disposable gear that looks good but fails when tested? Or are you investing in tools that will serve you reliably for decades? The gear that lasts forever isn't about having the newest gadget or the most tactical appearance. It's about making smart choices based on quality, durability, and proven performance. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It helps other people find this content. Drop a comment below and tell me what forever gear you rely on. I'm always learning from you all, and I love hearing about the tools and equipment that have served you well over the years. Maybe there's something I missed that deserves to be on this list. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I create content about practical preparedness, homesteading skills, food security, and real-world survival knowledge. No hype, no fear-mongering, just helpful information from someone who's been doing this for over a decade. I put out new videos weekly, so subscribing ensures you don't miss anything. Share this video with someone who's interested in preparedness or survival. Maybe it's a friend who's just starting their journey. Maybe it's a family member who thinks all survival gear is junk. This information could change how they approach preparedness and save them from wasting money on gear that doesn't last. Remember, preparedness isn't about fear. It's about responsibility. It's about being the person who's ready when others aren't. And it starts with making smart choices about the tools and gear you rely on. The items I've covered today aren't just gear. They're investments in your family's security and peace of mind. Stay calm, stay steady, and I'll see you in the next one.